Hey everybody, Sean from Movie Assault here, and it is time once again for another video. This time out, it is episode 11 of the Halloween 15 for 2024. And this time around, I wanted to take a look at Christine from 1983, which I watched on Blu-ray. There's the back. And this was directed, of course, by John Carpenter, who is also known for Halloween and The Thing and many other horror films. This, of course, is a film adaptation of a Stephen King novel, and as most people do when they review one of the Stephen King film adaptations, they will let you know that Stephen King film adaptations are usually a mixed bag. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're terrible, but that's the case with any film. It really depends on, it's not just a matter of the source material, it matters, of course, who the director is and who wrote the screenplay and what the screenplay is and all that stuff. So in this case, we're in good hands with John Carpenter in the director's seat. And the screenplay was not written by Stephen King. The screenplay was written by Bill Phillips. In any event, this tells the story of Christine. Christine is, of course, the car. Christine is for sale, is being sold by an old man, and 17-year-old kid Arnie Cunningham, played by Keith Gordon, sees the car for sale in front of this old guy's house, and he convinces his friend Dennis, played by John Stockwell, to stop. And so he can look at this car, and he instantly falls in love with it, and he immediately wants to buy it. Arnie is a pretty nerdy, awkward type kid, your usual movie nerd. He's, ill-fitting clothes, and his hair is a mess, and his clothes, or his glasses are not the best. They're broken, but when a school bully takes him on in the shop class, he's just not somebody that you would see being super attractive to the opposite sex. But he's mysteriously attracted to this car. He even offers more money than the guy's asking for it. And when he finds out why the car is for sale, he finds out that it was the old guy's brother's car, but it's only being sold because the brother is dead. He's stone cold dead, according to the old man. So Arnie buys it, drives it home, finds out his parents won't let him keep it at the house, so he has to take it to a local garage. And he gets a job at the local garage in exchange for parts that he can use to fix up the car. And as he goes through the process of fixing and restoring this 1958 Plymouth Fury, he suddenly takes on a transformation as the car begins to be transformed from this old, beaten, derelict car into a new, shiny automobile. Arnie takes on this transformation from an awkward, nerdy kid into an overconfident, super confident, well-dressed, carries himself very highly, very assertive young man, to the point where he's actually able to attract the attention of the new girl in school, Lee, who's played by Alexandra Paul. And this is somebody that his friend Dennis has been trying to date for the past couple of weeks, and he hasn't been able to. And Dennis is, the high school football playing stud, who still happens to be friends with Arnie. So Dennis is an all-around good guy, at least as the film paints him. So Arnie goes out on a date with Lee. They go to the drive-in, and Arnie gets some crap from Lee about the car. She thinks that Arnie is paying more attention to the car than he is to her. And something happens to Lee in the car. Arnie is locked out of the car, and she starts choking on, I think it's a hamburger she's eating. She starts choking on it. Arnie can't get into the car because the doors are locked, and this bright light lights up the car, and the radio starts playing. I forget what song it is, but the radio only seems to play 50s music. Anyway, Lee survives, but she's adamant. She wants Arnie to get rid of the car, and Arnie feels that it's really silly that Lee is jealous of this car. And then Lee actually makes the statement that she thinks that the car actually tried to kill her. And of course, Arnie laughs this off. But there may be something to that. And I'll leave the rest of the film for you to take a look at. But this is more than just a killer car movie. You would think that you know, if you're going to sum up this movie, you look at the cover, oh, it's a killer car movie. It's a horror movie about a car that kills people. But there's actually more to it than that. And I think that's why it's so successful and as good as it is. Albeit that it is directed by John Carpenter, and it has all the nice touches that a John Carpenter film usually has, you know, tracking shots um, and his usual trademark stuff. But it also has a pretty decent amount of appeal in terms of kind of a number of ways you can approach the script or approach the movie. It's a teen movie. It's a horror movie. It's a revenge story. And I'm not going to point out all the ways it is these things. That's for you to see. But it has a lot of different ways into the story. And that's really good. It's really, it can appeal to you in a lot of different ways. And the performances are actually really good. Keith Gordon is very believable in how he makes this transformation from this nerdy, awkward kid to this, what eventually becomes this overconfident asshole. And John Stockwell, who plays Dennis, they have a really good rapport as friends. You sort of get that best friend vibe that even though that John Stockwell's character is the high school football player, that he still cares for his friend Arnie, even though on the social stratus, you know, the social ladder, he knows that he's not, they're not on the same rung or even near, but, you know, they're old friends, and that's more important than, you know, popularity in school. And he's going to stand by his friend. And Arnie seems to forget that as he turns more and more into this person that he really isn't. He becomes more possessed, as it were, by Christine. So there's that element to it. There's a great supporting cast: Robert Prosky, Alexandra Paul, Roberts Blossom. They're all really good. Even Harry Dean Stanton makes an appearance in this film, and he kind of just appears in the middle of the film, and his character just sort of shows up. But he's got a very small role, but it's very effective, and he's very, very much Harry Dean Stanton in this film. So if you know Harry Dean Stanton, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But he's really good in the small role that he plays. As a horror film, it's not really scary, but it's got its moments. It's got a few good action scenes in the latter half of the film. But all around, it's just a really good movie. So if you're looking for a horror film or a Halloween film with mass appeal, this may be one of the better ones that I've watched this year. Well, I know it is one of the better ones I've watched this year, but this may be one of the better ones to show at like a Halloween party or something. It's very much a product of the 80s, even though it supposedly takes place in 1978. It feels like an 80s film. There's one scene where Arnie's parents, I think it's Arnie's mom, yells at Dennis for blasting noise pollution out of his car, and he's playing Tanya Tucker, which I thought was hilarious. I don't know. I really enjoyed this. It has been a very long time since I've seen this. I have not seen this probably since the mid-'80s, so it was like watching it again for the first time. And I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. And that is my review of Christine from 1983. Definitely check it out. All right, that's my review of Christine. As always, if you've made it this far, I really appreciate your attention span. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe for more content like this. And as always, take it easy.